I really need to get some like buttons outside my computer so I can flip scenes like this. Cool. The Stream Deck, it's not cheap. Yeah, $80, yeah. Just for some buttons on your screen, crazy. Let me just close this down. Hello, welcome. Hi, Matisse. See you type in. Okay, so I do have the chat on the stream, so just be aware of that if you start writing something that it's going to be recorded. Do a Discord bot to talk to OBS instead of buttons. Well, I've got a spare phone that I use with the Stream Deck instead of OBS, Streamlabs. But I just haven't got on with Streamlabs at all. So I need to give it another go because it's obviously the buttons are super useful. But yeah, doing a Discord bot would be maybe a good shout actually. I know, well, I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure Curtis Holt coded his own bot, and I know a few other people who have their own bots. My voice. Oh, is it loud enough? Am I loud? Am I audible? Yes, nice. Thank you so much. I have like 5 or 6 bottles of drink next to me. So hopefully I won't get dehydrated through this stream. And yeah, sorry if the microphone might be picking up my sister playing. She's a musician, she's practicing at the moment, so it might pick up her practice a little bit in the background. Okay, I think we're going to start. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, the recorded version, let's go full screen, then yeah, welcome. And if you would like to get involved with the live streams, the live versions, then there's going to be a link down below in the description to the Discord server, which is where we're streaming. So do come and get involved. It's been really good actually, especially like the past couple of weeks. We've had some really good fun on the Discord server and it's been quite an active community. So yeah, thanks everybody who's been getting involved. It's really, yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice to have a place where we can just talk about proceduralism. Okay, so we're doing a few different things today. I've set up a few things. So obviously you can see my face. So I was about to point, but you can see my face and you can see the chat, which is that way in the bottom left. And also we have screencast keys on. So hopefully if you're struggling to see what I've been doing, then it's down there just in the left bottom of the 3D viewport. Yeah, and it seems to be working. So it's even working when I'm in the shader editor as well, which is cool. How did I get Discord chat in Blender? Well, it's actually it's just it's an OBS overlay. It's not that clever. I was looking at I sent Kurt a message earlier, like, how do I live feed in the script editor? I want to do I've been downloading some things which let you like install Chromium, or not install, like embed Chromium inside any other software that's using Python. So I want to make like a proper stream kind of add-on for Blender so that you can have like stream overlays and stuff, but you've got them in Blender so I could see it in Blender. That would be really useful. But yeah, it's only an overlay, so I don't actually get to see it. Cool. Be very powerful. Yeah, so useful as well. Like I think a lot more people are starting to stream Blender now as well. So yeah, amazing. We've got a few things that we're going to have a look at today. We've got a cross-hatching shader that Tack requested a quick run through. Let me just open this. So this is super easy to do. It's only available in Eevee because it's using the shader to RGB, which Cycles doesn't have, but we will get into that. And then I'm also going to run through some of the things that we did for the lemon. It's not amazing, the lemon, but then there's some things which I'm quite happy with, like doing the cylindrical coordinates and doing, yeah, so the cylindrical coordinates position the seeds. Again, we'll get into it. It's probably not making much sense me just saying this. Sweet. Okay. So first things first, let's do the cross-hatching. Oh yeah, and then finally we're going to build like a world building shader that does all of the, it does all the things. You can like do rapid environment prototypes with it. I think that'll be useful. Right. So buckle in, because this is going to be quite a long session. Tack's having a good time with animation nodes. Yes, I'm glad you're doing animation nodes. How are you finding it? For the YouTube title, make it mega stream. Yeah, it's going to be hours. It might have to be 2 parts. Have you made anything that you like in animation nodes? Making a cool thing you saw on Reddit. Nice. You should have a talk to Sakura. He's in the Discord. He's got, I don't know if he's online actually, but he's got, yeah, he does the food. He's amazing. Yeah, the burger. It's just crazy what he can do with it. And I know it's just like modifiers a lot of it, but then it's also all of the texturing is procedural. Just nuts. Right, so cross-hatching shader. It's really, really simple to do. We need the hatching lines, and then we just need to be able to control where they get wider and thinner. And then we need to layer up the horizontal and the diagonal lines to give us the cross hatching, because otherwise it's just hatching. So we're taking object coordinates. I've just got a plane on here, and then, yeah, we're just going to do it on the plane. So object coordinates, and then I'm going to throw in a wave texture. And in the more recent blenders, it has the option to change on the side. If you are still using one of the older versions, then on this side panel, oh yeah, it's under here. There used to be the options in here rather than on the node, but now we've got them on the node, so update. Although I'm only in 2.83 and a lot of people seem to be using 2.9 now, which has loads more features, so yeah, use whichever. I'm going to change it from sine to triangle. So these are 3 different waveform shapes. I think triangle is going to make it more predictable. Basically, if you have a coordinate here, then the sine looks like this, roughly, and sawtooth would look like that. So it's like going over one side, like an asymmetrical thing, and then let's just make some space. Which one are we doing? Triangle. The triangle wave is like a symmetrical wave like this. So you could use, you could just use a ping pong node on the x-axis, but I want to have x or y or diagonal. So I'm using the wave texture node. It just makes it a bit easier for us to, yeah, handle, control. You better hit me up when you get those Blender overlays. Yeah, I will do. I will do. Okay. Oh, if anybody wants to share that we're streaming now on any like other Discord servers or Facebook pages or Twitter, feel free. And there should be an invite link. Maybe let me just get you all an invite link if you wanted to share it. Where are we? Voice chat text. So it's there. If you want to share it, then you can do that. The Python thing. Am I actually streaming my OBS? I am streaming OBS. I have the oh, it's not coming up. I've got like a preview window that I've made full screen, and I'm just streaming the preview window. So it's yeah, big brain moment. It just saves me having to like fuss anything, and you can see I've got like a banner across the top which I can do, and I've got my face and I've got the chat, so it just makes it a little bit easier. You know how OBS works, yeah. Okay, so hatching. So we've got triangle waves going in the Y direction, and then we're just going to add a mix RGB, set this to burn, set the second color to black. Now you can see that we've got a control over the thickness of these lines, and then I'm going to set another one, which we're going to set to dodge, set the second color to white, and now we have the fall off control. And then after that, we just need to position where it's like, yeah, basically where the light and the dark shadows come across it. I'm just going to duplicate these, so Control-Shift-D, and then I'm going to set this one to be diagonal. So diagonal and horizontal, and then I'm going to multiply these together so that we see them both. There we go. So cross-hatching, and in Eevee, so let me just change this to Eevee, go to rendered view. If I add a shader, diffuse shader, and I add a, in fact maybe let's do this on a monkey, on Suzanne, just so that we get a little bit more of the, turn that up, more of the effect of things, like the light coming across. That is really flickery. That's weird. We're not animating or anything, it's just, Has anybody had this? So strange. I've never had like soft shadows glitching like that before. Okay, that seems fine-ish now. It's like it's getting to the end of its samples and then it's restarting. That's not fun. When recording with OBS, it's got low FPS, decrease the samples in viewport. Hey, really? I normally get it running smooth. I'm pretty sure I am recording as well. Yeah, I am. Cool. Whew. Okay, let's just go down to one sample so it doesn't flicker. Or infinite samples. Okay, if you go to 0, it does just infinite samples. That's really useful. So, cross-hatching. In Eevee, if you put in one of these nodes, like a diffuse node, and then you add a converter shader RGB, it looks the same, but it lets us use color ramps on the shader. So this is going to let us control where we are increasing the amount of black and where we are increasing the amount of white on our cross-hatching. And they are controlled by these color dodge and color bends. So I want to put these into the color 2, I think. It's been a little while since I've done a cross-hatching shader. There's a really good video by, trying to remember her name. I think it's like Liron or something. She does a talk at one of the Maxon, like the Cinema 4D conferences. Yeah, this one. Link to this down below as well. She does these amazing like watercolor shaders. They look really cool. They look great. Look at that. It's just so nice. And she's done scans of she's done scans of paint and pastel and things like that, and she's just used them as her texture and positioned it procedurally. Amazing tune shoulders. Lightboy Studios. I'll need to check them out. I'm gonna copy this into the chat just in case you want to have it. So back in Blender, if we have a look at the output of one of these color burns, if we increase the factor here, then you can see that everywhere that it's in shadow, the cross-hatching is like, it's all the way, it's all the way like black in that area. It's completely burnt it in. And then, yeah, we've already connected those. So the white areas are going to be completely sharp as well. So you can see that's coming in across the gradient. So together, and I'm just going to add a value here. I know I'm going really fast on this. I have quick shortcuts set up. I feel like I mention this every time, but it does really speed things up. So I can just add a value node there. And let's pull the blacks back a little bit. And let's pull the whites in. So you can see that we're getting like a cross-hatching style just across there. I might change this across to UV as well. You're confused. So that's literally the whole shader, right? So we've got, yeah, the multiply. So we've got wave, burn, and then dodge. And then on the bottom, we've got wave, burn, and dodge. And that's, the bottom one is diagonal, and the top one is in just the y-axis. So you've got like a horizontal stroke. And then just multiplying those two together. And then in Eevee, we can use the diffuse shader to RGB, and then a color ramp to control it. And these go into the bottom of those mix nodes. So that's how you do a really quick cross-hatching one. How do you assign material to 200 objects at once? Just select them all. And then the last one that you've selected has the material on it, and you do Control L materials. Yeah, tried with cycles but not accurate. You can do it with cycles as well, it just needs to be, oh, I've deleted the lamp there. You need to use the normal node in here to control the direction, normal, and then use this to control it. Yeah, Tech, have a look at Sharon's blend file in the chat there. Okay, so we're gonna have a speedy run through the lemon, and then we're gonna get into the world builder shader. So open, do not save. Oh yeah, we've been doing stuff with music shaders as well this week, so that's been really interesting, really good fun. There's just so much you can do with lemon, with baking audio to F curves. It just gives you like so much control over anything, because I know it's just the amplitude, but if you then use that as a value to control like how much something's moving, then yeah, it's just really effective when you put it to music, because it's all like syncing up together. And we're going to do some stuff in the future with animation nodes as well, because you can do a lot more like fine tuning with the different peaks and troughs, and you get like a full waveform as well. You're not just getting the amplitude. So yeah, doing that is good fun. It's just nice when things are responsive. It really adds like a different side to it. Matisse, we were talking earlier, like a few days ago, about setting up like Arduinos and sensors and things, and having like this, having things in Blender be responsive to real world attributes. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to run through this, but is there anything specific about the lemon that you're interested in how I did or wondering about? Because it's a fully 3D shader, this one, but it's not using volumes, it's using object coordinates. So the lemon sort of exists regardless of the mesh, if that makes sense. Like the mesh just intersects the lemon's colors. That's the best way to think about it. Using distance for placing seeds. Yeah. So I have seed UVs down here, and basically what I've done, I've taken my sphere, if I go right back to the beginning. So this is just a sphere that I've scaled 1.2 times in the x-axis, and then in here I've taken object coordinates and I've divided the x distance by 1.2, and that has stretched the object coordinates to match. So if I use a length node on this, so converter vector math, oops. Always have this with Eevee when it decides to start compiling shaders. Okay, the length in here. So you can see that it's all white, and then if I add a less than, you can see that it all goes at the same time because the UV space has been distorted the same as the lemon. So that's the first thing that is really important to bear in mind. Like any distortion that you do to the mesh, you want to make sure that your UV coordinates match that. And then all we've done is we've taken the the y and the z coordinates, which give us like an object space running lengthways down here, right? And I'm using that as the length. So this gives you like a cylinder that's got 0 in the middle and it radiates outwards. Am I going to do a tutorial for the lemon? I probably will, to be honest. Quite a few people have asked for it, and it is kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know, because it's such a useless thing to have. It's just like, I don't know. But I guess it's kind of cool, and you learn quite a lot doing this sort of thing as well. So basically, polar coordinates are like a pole in the middle, and you have your y coordinate being the radius, right? And this is in any direction. And then your x coordinate is the distance around, like this. So that's your x. So I've just done the same thing here. I've taken a radial gradient that I've done by rotating the y-axis, rotating around the y-axis. So this goes the length of the lemon. And I have this radiating out from the center. And then to make it from the circle polar coordinate into a cylindrical coordinate, I have taken the length here as, so the generated x in this case, that becomes the z. And that is why you get this kind of pretty looking coordinate space. And then all I've done is I've used the distance here to, let's just move this through, to position circles, or like, yeah, distance. So it positions like a sphere at one point, and I can then move this. So if I move this in the x-axis, you can see it goes round. And if I position it in the y-axis, it goes out from the center. And then the z-axis, it moves forwards and backwards along the length of the lemon. and then just use the greater than here. So this is setting the mask for the absolute edge of it. And then I've also, next to that, I've just set like a little bit of a color with the color ramp. And there we go. Oh, I'm just checking in the Studio Culture chat. There's quite a lot of people in here. Hey, welcome. Cool, so that's the color of the seeds. But yeah, it's just generating a cylindrical coordinate space that like follows the lemon like this in this direction. And then to do the cut, all I've done is I've added a cube. If I can find it. I've added a cube. I've just set it to wireframe mode. And then I've animated it moving forwards and backwards. So wherever it cuts through, it'll generate a new face. So this whole face is generated, and because there's UV coordinates defining that there's segments, and so these are like a radial array, and then the actual like the juice sacs, if that's what they're called, that's just a Voronoi which I've stretched into the center with, if I can find it. Maybe I haven't stretched that actually. I've just changed the scale of it based on how far out from the center it is. So if it looks like it's stretched, just so that I wanted to follow the like the segment walls basically. The lemon looks too shiny. It does, doesn't it? Even in cycles, if this loads. I did a clear coat on it. And I think it's the clear coat that gives it like a proper shine. Let's hide that. Yeah, and it's like a little bit too, you know, like luminance. But yeah. As a shader, I can't really recommend making it because you're never gonna use it. But as like a learning thing, I would definitely recommend having a go because it makes you get used to like describing your own coordinate systems to do what you need to do. And I think that's actually quite a useful skill. Yeah, the rest of it is just like a little bit of maths and a little bit of masking and just sticking your materials together with color and masks to give it a little juicy look. Oh, you mean the clear coat? I should have done like a simulation or something. Had some water coming out of it. Cool. Right, onto the main attraction. Let's have a look at a world shader. So this is kind of inspired by this NVIDIA, I don't know how to pronounce it, Gorgon? G-A-U-G-A-N? It's part of their like research stuff. They do quite a lot of this. Yeah, it's just so interesting. So basically it'll take a color and it'll tell the AI that that color represents something like sky or sea. And then the AI will try and draw the space. So if you come in here and you click like mountain, and then we give it like a mountain over here, just fill that in. And then give it some clouds. And then maybe some rocks. Then it's going to generate that. And it's going to try and position those elements where you want those elements. I don't know, it's just so much fun actually. You can get really into using this. I know when it came out there were loads of concept artists that were just like, this is the end of my career. But I think people kind of came around to using it. Yeah, you can spend hours just like designing these different landscapes. But it's super low res and they're just these like tiny little square things. We're going to be doing the same idea of painting colors. But it's going to be 3D, like fully displaced environments. So to do this, we're not going to use AI for anything. We're going to be just using shaders and masking. So we need to define several shaders. We need to define a method of masking. And we got the idea for this from Zatsubonokami. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. But we're doing like hue brackets, and that's going to create the like vertex painting. And then, yeah, so a few shaders, a masking method, and then we'll have it. So that's good fun. So we need to think about what kind of shaders we want. So I think we need a general landscape one. That is fine. Thank you. I can, that's short enough for me to remember. Yeah, so we need like a general landscape. I'm just going to do like a grassy kind of field look. And then we're also going to do like a forest with proper displacement, not vector displacement. We're just going to do like a bumpy tree canopy. And then we're also going to do a city with like actual towers with windows. We're going to properly do the city. I think that's got like a really fun one to do. And then, oh, we need water as well, and beaches. We'll do those 5, and then we'll do the masking as well. So Blender Quality just said adios. Oh, and hey Andromeda, welcome. Are things on screen, are they still visible? Are we still looking okay? Ooh. Need to get used to my webcam being mirrored. Pixelated. Is it me or is it you? The recording will be like at the native resolution, so at least on YouTube it'll be okay. It's moderately compressed, but it seems fine. Okay, thank you. The depth of field, like, yeah. Well, if you need me to slow down or zoom in on stuff, just shout and I will. Cool. So this is going to be called the World Builder. And to begin with, we're going to do just the basic like grassy plains. So we're just going to use, none of these are going to look incredible, but like together it's going to be a fun concept and a fun little project. So just bear with. So we should probably find some reference. If we look for grassy fields. So I guess we're going for this kind of thing. Kind of dappled, maybe with some stripes. So going to use bump maps and wave textures and noise textures. And we also need to think about the coordinate space that's going to be used for this, and I'm going to use UVs just to keep everything the same and kind of controllable from outside as well. So ooh. It's really annoying that when you do the alt right click, it decides that you want generated even if you've only got UV showing. Very annoying. I wish you could train Blender a little bit, have it a little bit more like intelligent about what you want based on the way that you use it. I don't know if that would be possible, but maybe one day we'll have some AI built in. And UVs into here. So just straight away, I'm going to join these noise textures together. Alt, Shift, right mouse button. Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. You do then have to choose though. But yeah, you're right, that is quite a quick way to do it. UV. It'll rule the world. It will do. It will do. So this gives us a nice, like, kind of natural looking wave. And we can increase that down. Don't want to have too much detail just because we're going to have so many different things going on with this one. And we might need to change the scale of each of these later. So I might actually put each one into a group node, just so that we've got it like, have a little bit of a front end for controlling things. Cool, so cycles, and I'm going to just go for a different HDRI. And then we need to mix this wave texture with some bump. I'm going to actually use 2 bumps here. So factor into the height. I might need some noise into the back of the wave as well. So Control, Shift, Right, click and drag. That gives you a mix. Although I actually want the yellow here. Oh, and it's done the generated again. What a hassle. Okay, color, mix RGB. UV into slot 1, color into slot 2. Change it to linear light. And this goes into the vector. And then if we have a look at our wave textures, ooh, that's way too much. We just want a little bit of noise in here. I know you can get some stuff going on in this node. There we go, something like that. And then that's into one bump, normal into the next. This is just gonna, having 2 bumps just lets us control the normals differently. Like the strength, sorry, of these differently. And then I'm also gonna want one for a mix RGB for the different colors of green that we want, because we're gonna want a slightly darker one also. Sweet, and if I invert that, nice. Holy moly, you're fast. Yeah, sorry, let me slow down a little bit. Doubling up bump nodes effectively mix them, or does it distort? I think it effectively adds... Oh yeah, no, it does mix them. So it basically takes the normals of the first one, and then it says adjust for this as well. Yeah, it will add them, because your normals are already in a range of, if we just visualize one of these, it all looks blue, but that's because it's pointing upwards. So what you're probably used to normals looking like is if I add 1 and then divide by 2, right? So add 1 in here and scale to 0.5. This looks more like the normal maps that you're used to looking at as images. And that's just because these have been normalized to a range of 0 to 1. Whereas normally, there you go, Tech. Normally a normal map goes from a range of, cycles needs it to go from -1 to 1, because you're going from in the direction of the negative gradient, like the negative axis, as well as the positive axis. It's just that images can't save ranges from -1, so we have to like normalize it. But that's why when you look at the output of a bump node, it looks like this. So it's looking blue because it's pointing upwards. Whereas if it was to say that it was going the opposite direction, then you would not get the blue. Ooh, let me have a look under here. So it looks just green and yellow underneath because we're getting like a negative Z underneath this plane. I don't know if that makes sense. Basically, it's pointing in the direction. It's just controlling the normals of the surface. I should probably do a video on what normals actually are. That might be a good idea for a future one. The whole tree. So far, Tech, we've got texture coordinates, which are UVs. And then I've got 2 noise textures and a wave texture. And I'm just making the input to the wave texture a little bit noisy, just so that we get like a little bit of extra wiggle in the lines. Normals are very confusing. Yeah, honestly, it's only recently that I've actually sat down and thought about why they look the way they do. I've always just kind of blindly accepted that they work, but yeah, it gives you a lot more power to control it if you understand it. Okay, so moving beyond here. I'm just going to drop the roughness, or increase the roughness, sorry, and drop the specular. And that's going to give us our grass. We might come back and tweak it later. But the fun stuff is really doing the city. It's also slightly easier, I think. And water is obviously a fun one as well. We just need to be able to control the scale of these from outside. And maybe also the color. And maybe the bump. Okay. So select them all, Control G. And then let's... Hey, Agnev, welcome. So we have a UV input here. And we're putting a shader out at the other end. So we've got the scale. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Do you stream, Agnev? I feel like you should. Your work is amazing. He did. Oh, amazing. Yeah, give me a shout next time you're streaming and I'll hop in. So I'm doing the scale on the front here. That one was 200 and this one was 5, so that's quite a bit different. What is that, like 40? Yeah, 40 times different. So connect, add a math, add a divide by 40. And then gonna have the bottom one, which is just divided by 4. Non-dark mode Windows, I'm sorry. I have some things in Windows dark mode and then other bits are not. I just like to pick and choose. I also have the I kind of like how this calculator looks, and you can put it on top as well. You can have it like stay around, which I like. Not that I can work out how to do that now. But yeah, and you've got like a proper scientific calculator. It's very handy. It's a shame it's not like a proper graphing calculator, but you don't. I think with videos like this, you don't always understand just watching somebody. It's when you like sit down and pause and copy along that you really, that you can really get it. But yeah, I think when you see the results and just, I don't know, it's just one of those shaders which is really fun to like, you're basically drawing an environment and drawing height maps the environment. So we're going to be able to like draw on mountains. And it's going to properly texture them, and it's going to like texture where the cliffs are and texture where the snow starts. And that's going to be fun. You have an auto hotkey script to keep any window on top with. Ooh, yeah, send it over. That looks like a great idea. With control space, that's your maximize view in Blender though. Why would you sacrifice a Blender hotkey? I guess you never use it. You'll use it all the time now. Now you know it's there. Cool. Yeah, definitely send me that script. That sounds really good. Okay. So I've got a grass shader. It looks very metallic, like plastic grass, but we can change that around a little bit. Next one we're going to do is a beach shader. So similar thing, we're going to add noise texture. Connect it up to the UV, and this one is going to be, I guess for sand it's going to have to be really dense. So I'm just going to set this up to like 1000 immediately. And also going to have a quick look at what sand looks like. Okay, see, I would have never thought of putting in the ripples unless I looked at it. It's good to check references. And we can use a Voronoi distance to get this kind of dimpled look. Cool. Cool, and it's a bit whiter as well than I was expecting. Nice, okay, so that's quite simple to do. This one we might even use a bit of displacement for. I'm just going to turn on displacement and bump just in the material settings here, or it's also at the bottom of the material tab, displacement and bump, just to make sure that it actually does get the displacement when we add it. And also add a subdiv, set that to simple, adaptive, and then in your render tab you can change the base viewport subdivisions. I'm going to set mine to 1, but obviously if your computer is not going to enjoy that, then keep it a bit higher. Oh, I find the edges of these really difficult to grab as well. Okay. Noise texture. Yeah, for the edges, right? The edges of these windows. And these used to be so easy to grab. In like 2.6, 2.5, you would grab these without even realizing you were near them. And then now they're like 1 pixel wide. Kind of too far the wrong way. Is it a good idea? A face cam. Hi. Yes, welcome to my face. And also your chat is visible on YouTube, so enjoy that one, Jake. Enjoy that. Yeah, go on, Tech. So I'm just going to keep adding textures here. I'm going to add a Voronoi texture. This is going to be our, like the divots, these divots in the sand. We're using this at a much higher scale again. And sand is going to go into the, so these divots are going to go into displacement rather than bump. And yeah, height. And then this obviously needs to go into displacement. And we need the displacement scale to be inversely proportional. Is that right? Yeah, inversely proportional to the scale of the Voronoi. So the higher this goes, the lower the scale goes. That's right. Basically no latency. Falling behind on the chat. Oh, that's okay, Tech. Yeah, come back whenever. We will be here for a while, I think. For a while. Okay, so going to put in a value just to hold our scale for a sec. 200. And then I'm going to add a math node and just put this into the bottom. Set it to divide, but 1 into the top. We can change the top socket. But what this does is it lets us shader diffuse. Basically, the more Voronoi like density we get, the less it's going to displace. It's not a perfect science, but it is working pretty good. And I'm going to set the mid-level to 0 as well, just so that we have like a predictable start point. It's kind of tempting to use a smooth F1, but I know it's going to slow everything down. Yeah, maybe it looks better on just normal anyway. And then I'm actually going to use a bump with the noise texture, just to give it the extra bit of like detailing. I should probably use one of Syncretic's noises. Yeah, let's try out one of his. So Syncretic has a really good set of noise, advanced noise shaders, and no trees. So noise, let's just grab this one. Noise. And he does something, he does some black magic here. You see this socket? How does he do that? It's got no like values in here. Let me just show you what I mean. Right, if I put this into a group and I want another socket on here, n node add a new. This socket, even though it's not connected to anything, it's got a value field, and his don't. How does his sockets not have it? Take it off and rename it. What do you mean take it off? Even with like, am I missing something? Unplug the socket. It's not plugged into anything. There is no socket. And if I just give it like loads of hyphens, then it's still a value slider. And I can't put hyphens into the default value either. It just says that there's an unexpected EOF. It's crazy. But on his, he's got these proper spaces, and I want them. I want them. I need to ask him how he does it. Look at this. His looks like it should be an actual thing, but it's not. There is no spoon socket. There is no spoon. Oh, I get the reference. I like it. Okay. Plugging in the vector. So these noise textures are just like loads more customizable. What are we making here today? We are making a world generation shader. So you can have like a vertex paint painting where you basically say, this is the bit that I want to be city, and this I want to be forest, and this I want to be beach, and I want the sea to be here, and I want this to have mountains. And the shader will just like, it'll just do it for you. It'll position everything, and it'll blend them together, and it'll make it look great. In theory, that's what we're going for. Right, hopefully awesome, but maybe also, well, hopefully it'll work. Right, coarseness increase, so this is going to give us like loads more detail. And then I want to turn the detail down a little bit. Part of me thinks it's better to have a low detail and a high scale. I think that's probably going to work best. And then, God, look at this huge node. And then we're going to put this through a bump. So vector bump. The height goes into the height socket. And then the normal output from this needs to go into a principled shader. Like so. And then the color needs to be this kind of beautiful tea color, which is somewhere around here, I think. Maybe a little bit less green. Maybe a little bit lighter. So the node group, in the node group, use a bump map height. Wait, what? In the node group, use a bump maps height as the input and then just rename it. Is this true? Add a vector bump. Oh, fab. Oh my god, it works. Oh my god, that is so good. Thank you so much. This has been bugging me for like actually weeks that I should have just asked him, to be honest, but oh my god. Thank you so much. That's actually made me really happy. I'm glad I can do that now. Yeah, Fabio, what a legend. Oh, Syncradic's here. Hey Taylor. I should have just asked you how to do that, but yeah. All of your like nodes have spaces on it and it looks great. So for accurate colors, use the Adobe color, search for stuff you want. You also like hex codes. Yeah, you can do that. I just eyeball stuff. It's nature, you know, it looks how it looks. And like if you ever go to like a white sand beach as well, you know, the ones which are made of like shells, old shells, then they're like white sand. So yeah. Okay. This is super basic, but ooh, that's maybe too much bump. Bit higher scale, 10,000. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do for our sand. Does anyone have a calibrated monitor? No, they're so expensive. I have been looking at them. There's a really good one by Dell, like a photographer's one. Dell monitor. You know the ones that have they have like a screen around them, like a sunscreen? Maybe I can't find it now. Has anybody used the new Apple monitors? Because they are beautiful. They're so expensive, but they are beautiful. Definitely can't justify it, but you've never worked with a color calibrated one in person. Right, so 200 and 10,000, that's like 500 difference. Multiply, or like a factor of 500. Maybe? I think that looks pretty good. I mean, we're never going to get this close to the sand, but it's just fun to have extra details just in case. Make sure you use a physical eyedropper. Yeah, and like actually go out with a pipette and start measuring your colors. Okay, group node time. Oh wait, we probably want to change the specular and the roughness. Does anybody know why we still have specular, or like what it really does? Because it feels powerful, but I'm not sure. I normally just reduce it quite a lot because it seems to like blow out the sides, randomly saturates the image. Yeah, like if you have any images of people and then, or not images, sorry, like a 3D scan of a person and you get them in and they've got like this, like a cloudy white look sheen over them, then just like take off all of the specular and they'll look fine. A non-metallic workflow. Yeah, I think it is. If you increase specular way up, well, I mean, we're getting loads of fireflies on here, but yeah, it just adds this like shine, a sheen. Maybe that's correct though for sand. We'll keep it in. So, just going to connect this up here. Time for another group node. So, gather everything together. Control G. Ooh, do not want grass in here. Control Z. Gather everything except from the grass. So we've got displacement and BSDF. Change the order. Input vector is the UV, and the input here is the scale. And I'm just going to have one for the, I'm going to call this one the displacement scale. And I've just plugged that into the this divide, the top of the divide. So if we were to increase that, then it would be like 2 over whatever the scale is. So it's still related to the scale, but it just gives us a little bit of extra control. Mid-level 0, and I'm just going to drop this to around there. That's probably fine. So call this one sand. Okay, 2 shaders down, 3 to go. Am I using viewport denoise? I am using viewport denoise. That is why we get those gross fireflies, but I think it looks better than not using it. Maybe? Maybe it looks way better without, actually. It seems to be like rendering quite quickly, so let's keep it off for now. How much light something releases is specular. Maybe. Like how much it's like not absorbing, you mean? Sand. Okay, next one we're going to do forest, and we're going to do it super simply just with noise and Voronoi. So we're going to use the distance here to give us like a bumpy tree canopy. And then add a vector displacement as the height. I was thinking earlier, just because we've got Taylor in here, I'll say this. My shaders are just weird. They're just really weird. Like, Taylor's stuff is super realistic and like really impressive. And then I'm just here like, what am I doing? Like the musical ones this week. What is the point of those? Very strange. Yeah, just thinking about that earlier, just thinking like, what is the point of all of these different shaders I make? Because they're just kind of experiments more than anything, which I guess is fine. But I don't know how practical it is. They look cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not like self-depreciating anything. It's no, I really enjoy making them. But yeah, just like when in a production environment would you use this? And I'm here like, maybe I can make a career out of it. Probably not. Right, so to get the canopy looking correct, I'm going to add noise to it. My shaders are thick. Thanks. Ooh, okay, we have an answer here. Ray light hits a material, a part of it gets absorbed and another gets released. By watching Blender Guru and some other channel, they tell to never touch specular unless you go for metallic, and other uses itself as skin texture, for example. Yeah, I think that there's probably a way to like handle it properly procedurally. I normally just drop it to like 0.2, 0.3, just because I think it makes things look too like rubbery. You know how rubber gets that kind of sheen just as it turns away? Yeah. Add noise to the Voronoi. Okay, Taylor, walk me through this. I'm going to do it. Append noise transform. Noise transform here. Oh, so this goes on the vector, right? So this goes before the Voronoi. Haha, yes it does. I'm also just going to drop RGB curves onto the front of here, just so that we can round out these a bit better. We want it like a deciduous kind of forest canopy. I spent a few years living in the Forest of Dean. It's just north of Bristol in the UK. So this is the kind of forest I'm used to. So quite a lot of it's deciduous. It's one of the ancient forests in the UK. They filmed quite a lot of films here, like Harry Potter, got some Game of Thrones stuff filmed here. Yeah, but you get these kind of like tree canopy bumpy bumps. We have like loads of beech trees and oak trees and things. But yeah, some really nice like mottling, which we can do with the Voronoi colour. And just multiply that by the green that we want. Multiply. Taking the node green, you've got to recycle these things. You have to use what you've got. Okay. Harry Potter's birthday is today. Is it? Is it actually? Harry Potter's birthday. 31st of July, 1980. Did not realise he was so old. Well, happy birthday, Harry. Okay, so again, principled node, shader, principled. My voice went off. Thank you for letting me know. I have a hotkey for muting myself, and I must have accidentally pressed it. Yeah, if I do that again, do just shout, because I will not notice. Okay, these are some ugly looking trees. Need a bit more. Oh wait, more roughness. We're going for like a stylized landscape. This is going to be okay. It's going to be from a distance. Wait, let's increase the scale here. Both of these. Oh my god, Taylor, having the scale thing as well. Does that work for this? Or is that going to be like inversely proportional? Because it's the because it's displacement scale. It matches the scale. Oh sweet, okay. So if I do that, we get that, and then so this scale, if I plug that into the height, I need to do 1 over. Okay, cool. Displacement, divide. Isn't it beautiful? A little bit too flat. There we go. You would do the displacement add mask. Oh yeah, I get you. See, now I'm feeling dumb for putting the individual grains of sand bump noise when we've got the trees from this far away, but it's like a whole landscape, so yeah, it's more likely to be viewed from a distance. I want some more variation in the types of trees. Thank you. It's, I just invented it. No, I'm sure somebody else has done it before. It was the only way that I could think of doing it though. So I want some of the Voronoi sections to be like sharp, like this, like pine trees. So if you take the color output through a less than node, then you can mask out like whichever ones are less than or more than a certain value. And then we can basically say, if we plug that through the factor here, then it's going to control which ones get rounded and which ones don't get rounded. So hopefully that'll make a difference. Might make the deciduous ones a little bit shorter as well. Maybe that's too much difference. And if you don't want it to have like a full effect, then we can just multiply the outcome here. So instead of it being 0 or 1, we can have it to be, I guess we want to add actually. Oh my god, too much. Let's map range. This is going to be easier. Or we've got factor sliders. There's so many ways to do things. Okay, we're going to use factor sliders. Which came in down here. So the way that this works is I've just got a mix node. It's literally just a mix node actually. But it gives me sliders for the first and second one. So now we've got some sections which are going to be the full effect, and some which are going to be like 20% of the effect. Oh, thank you, Taylor. I learned literally so much from going through your shaders as well. There's so much that I just don't even think about in them. Jake. I don't know how to, but you should also add whether patches of trees of different colours, like whole trees or like whole patches. Do tree species grow together, group together? Yeah, we can do this. So we have the Voronoi position, right? And what this is like a Voronoi pixelated version of the input vector. So if we put a noise texture on here, or like a Voronoi would do as well, and we take this to be driven by the position output, then you can see that we've got the noise pattern, but it's like it's snapped to, I'm not explaining this well. Basically it's pixelated based on the Voronoi. So now if I add a color ramp to this and just like crush the blacks and the whites, you can start to see that a bit better. Can everyone hear Erin? Sweet, amazing, thank you. What are my PC specs? Let's see if we can find them. I've got do I just do in here, properties? There's probably something like personal ID on here, which I probably don't want to share. I can censor that out later. I've got 3900X. It's just air cooled. I don't have any water cooling. And I've got 32 gig of memory. I really want to go up to 128 though, because I run out so often in big scenes, just because of the textures being loaded to RAM. And I've got a 2070 Super, but I'm thinking of getting a second one as well. And I'm also thinking of getting a bigger case because the airflow in my case is awful. I've literally had to take the side off the case to try and improve things, but it's not a good solution. Right, different patches of trees. So we want to have, maybe these should control like where the conifers are. Where's this? So yeah, you can see that there's like a big patch in here. That we've got like conifers coming up, and then there's loads of like deciduous trees, and then there's patches of heather and gorseland over here. And it's going to be fun seeing if we can get the trees to go like along field boundaries, like down here. That might be an interesting like mask to try and squeeze in, and just have that like automatically happen. We'll have to see how that goes. Oh, my throat gets so dry when I'm talking. It's also like 200 degrees in my room. Okay. Yeah, basically all shaders that I do, it's just like mixing masks. That's all anything ever really is. It's like generate mask, control something, and also like a little bit of domain distortion as well. So here's the color of the trees, and we're just going to use this to give us a little bit more darkness, or maybe like something like that. And we want to have that in things, increase the distortion, just play with values basically until something sticks. And I might change this to 4D just so that we get a little bit more control as well over where stuff is. So one thing I've noticed with my microphone is it's really quiet. Generally, it's really quiet. I've got it boosted a lot in OBS when I'm recording, but I've got it like 100% everywhere on my computer. So am I sounding loud enough on Discord? Or have you had to like turn me up? I really need to sort it out, I think. And we're just going to add a little bit more variation to some of these trees with that mask again. I might make these ones very slightly taller. Yeah. Oh my god, I just realized I was like scrolled up on the chat. I thought nobody was saying anything, but... Oh, have I not saved? This happens every time. Every time. Okay, sorry. Yeah, my chat was not updating. Thank you. Okay. Oh, Taylor, I've got a challenge for you. Do you know what mycelium is as a building material? Oh wait, no. Oh my god, I'm going to save first. Let me just save. Right, tutorials, world builder. I just get so distracted. Okay. Okay, saved. Right. Whew. Mycelium. So mycelium is like mushrooms grown into blocks. Building. Taylor, I need this as a texture, please, like a material for some projects. Yeah, they look like cob houses, but they're made of mushrooms, and you grow them, like you have a mold, and you grow them, and the mycelium has like this crazy root structure, and then you cook it, I think. You cook it, and it like stops growing, and it doesn't degrade. It's really cool, really like super environmentally friendly to build with, really lightweight, insanely strong. I think you can make it waterproof as well. You can eat your house. Yep. Yeah, you can do. But yeah, if anybody wants to have a knock at making this as a material, if you succeed as well, give me a shout, because I want this as a shader. It would be so useful. So many people are using this for like pavilions like this one. Crazy. Okay, back to the shader. Is it actually a mushroom? It's fungus. So they grow it, and it's the root of a fungus system. I don't think it has like an actual mushroom cap, but it's in that family. Yeah, please have a go. I reckon your shaders are probably like your noise things. I reckon you can make it. Sweet. Okay. I want to make these trees a little bit taller. You can get so deep into just like tweaking and tweaking, even if it's not going to make any difference. You know, I'm just going to add a little bit to these. So the white ones, yeah. Mix, add, just like 0.1. Just to make them a little bit taller. Add some noise on the trees to fake the shadow of the leaves. Ooh, good shout. Yeah. Maybe that would be a good mask to use with the specularity as well. So we have like a little bit more specularity on the top of the canopy. No, roughness is not looking good on there. Okay. Does this noise transform actually have noise in it? It does have noise. I'm sorry, I'm like butchering your shader here just to give me an extra output. It's a bit low scale actually. Let's just do it with normal noise. So add a noise texture. Super high scale, like 600? Oh, 6600. That's too high. 3000. add a color ramp and crush the blacks. Maybe just set it to constant. And then add a little bit of distortion as well. Does high scale on noise get computation expensive? I don't think so. I think it's just the detail, high detail on noise. That's when it gets crazy. So this is a detail of 2. I probably don't need 2 because it looks basically the same from like a standard viewing distance. But every time you add detail, it like does another level of the fractal calculation. Someone correct me on that, but I think that's how it works. I'm just taking the UV here. Gonna join them. Okay. Wow, this one's starting to look kind of complex. And just gonna add another mix on here. And it's giving us a little bit of the shadow potentially. Don't use UVs because it's just a flat plane for the leaf shadows. Well, it doesn't change. Use object coordinates. Why? Does it make a difference? Is it going to make a difference? It's stretching with UVs. Oh, because we're displacing. Damn, we have some clever people in here. I just do not think of this stuff. I'm like, it's a plane. It's a plane. Okay, object coordinates. There we go. Oh yeah, that does look a lot better. Okay, thank you. And drop the specular. Can use another factor slider on here. So this is just controlling the specular, so we want no specular in the darkness, and we want a little bit but not a lot on the high points. I mean I'm just freeballing, so it looks kind of like trees, right? And when we start doing like an actual Taylor, you have the factor sliders, don't you? I thought they were your idea. Because I'm pretty sure I didn't think of them. Yeah, when we get some like actual bumps going up on the surface, we need to just drop this down to like 5, I think. Be a little bit more uniform. Oh, the way you labeled it. Yeah, so when this starts bumping, it's going to look good, hopefully, I think. Okay, so another one for a group. Control G, and we have got the group output always puts displacement above the shader, and that's just not the way it should be. BSDF and displacement, and UV. Night Agnev, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you as always. UV is the input. We're going to have a scale input. We're going to have a displacement scale input. I'm quite happy with the color, so we're going to keep the color as it is. I don't think there's anything else that we need to control from the outside. So I've got scale here is 100, and here is 3000, so I need a multiply by 30, and then the scale output, just the scale input. Is that what you mean? I'm just using the scale like as a, so I've got it on the front end, and I'm going to just have one down here for the displacement scale as well. Displacement scale. Oh, can we have a scale output like Taylor's noise? I mean, we could do, but we wouldn't use it, I don't think, in this case. Just because all of these are like in parallel, if that makes sense. Like these are other aspects of the landscape. I think it'll all scale together, because like trees versus sand versus grass, it's all kind of the same constant. So as long as I've got a scale on the front end, then I think it'll be okay. Yeah. We can make this all into like one crazy group at the end that's just like a world generator that lets you paint worlds on things. Oh my god, Blender is so powerful, isn't it? Isn't it so much like fun just to do these weird things? Let me name it. What's this one? Forests. A texture paint mask. Yes, we're going to do it with a vertex paint mask actually. Just because it keeps us from needing an image texture node. But that's literally the only reason. Yeah, I mean, doing it with texture painting would make it easier to do something higher resolution. Just because you've got like I could do like an 8K map and that would be fine. And we'd have like that super high resolution. That's a loud motorbike. Yeah, save. Thanks. I need to set it to like autosave. I think I have it set to like maybe 5 minutes or something. Wait, do we have autosave? Oh yeah. Yeah, it autosaves every 2 minutes for me. Just because I don't save things. Vertex paint is especially powerful if you animate stuff because it ties the information to the vertices, not onto UV. What's PureRef's save feature? I think I have PureRef on here. Yeah, I do. But I find it so confusing. Okay. Very useful, but yeah, like where are the buttons? It nags if you haven't saved. Right click for buttons. Oh. Okay, cool. Maybe for the next live stream I'll get some like references sorted rather than having to just Google it each time. I mean, yeah, with Blender at least it actually tells you to save before you shut it. So that's new, that's nice to have. Right, so we've got grasslands, we've got sand, we've got oh, we need water, and we need cities. Right, water's really easy. I'm just going to add noise and make it shiny. I'm so used to using my quick shortcuts that this is like trying to navigate a menu. Okay, noise, object coordinates, make it shiny. Shader, principal BSDF. Adaptive subdivisions. I've actually not had Blender crash in over a month, so that's pretty good going. Even having like really, really high subdivision counts. Touch wood. I think we're going to be okay, hopefully. Hopefully. Blender crashes like 3 times a day for me. What? What are you doing to it? Maybe we should have a little bit of like chat about optimization. Maybe you're running out of like memory for those noise textures. Yeah, using 2.9 actually, I've heard that's not the most stable. Yeah, 2.9. Yeah, I mean 2.83 has been great for me. I don't know if there's like a new version of it. I'm on 0.2. No, really? Is that using 2.9 or 2.8, Matisse? Oh, 2.8, 3.3. I'll have to download that later. 2.83. You know you're doing good work, like on the edge of what people know, if you're crashing things frequently. Just consider it like a badge of honor if you can break it that well. Well, my tea is very cold. Okay, vector bump height. Drop this to like 0.1 and 0.1, and then smash that scale and drop the roughness. Instantly water. That's super easy to do. Water always looks nice with like a little bit of extra detail on it as well, just so you can get like really close and it looks good. Good, like 4. One of the difficult things when we start masking this together is if we have two different things next to each other, like if you have water next to sand, how do we like, does one just stop and the other begin? Or do we have like a bit of like sea foam on the side? Do we need another shader for like various adjacencies? And then we also need a way of like calculating the adjacencies. Interesting. We will get to that when we get to it. Forgot to mention that the vertex paint can be easily transformed from one to another. Oh, if they have the same topology. Well, UV mask with texture paint and UV must have the same. On both message. Oh, islands, yeah. I mean, I'm just doing it with rectangles, so it's probably fine to do either in this case. But yeah, I totally get it. When you're doing like a fully deforming mesh, using vertex paint is going to save you like just such a headache. Yeah, especially when you've got like a face and you're doing like lip syncing, but then you're also having to do like corrective shape keys and rigging of all of the different parts, and it's just like, yeah, and your mesh, like the models that you're making there, Zat, are so much more complex than anything that I've ever done. Like I've done some pretty complex hard surface stuff, but nothing organic like you're doing. So that's just like a whole nother kettle of fish. So I made the water blue, and I'm unsure because water isn't blue, but we're also not making it deep unless we do. Let's just do that. Okay, turn up transition and it looks great. So that's water done. Control G, and we just need to control the scale. And I think the color is fine. So that's fine. This is water. 4 down. Next one. Oh, this is the fun one. Doing cities is fun. We're going to do a Chebyshev city. And if you don't know what Chebyshev is, you're about to have a lot of, you're about to have a great time. It's not new. It's one of the Voronoi textures. I've only started using it in the past maybe 3 months. And it's what people use for like sci-fi panels. So everybody knows what Voronoi looks like. This is Voronoi. Has my shortcuts turned off? Okay. Well, we've got shortcuts again now if you would like shortcuts. Okay, so Voronoi, change it from Euclidean Voronoi. We have Manhattan, which is like stars. And we have Minkowski, which is other stars. And then we have Chebyshev, which is squares. So useful. Yeah, Chebyshev is great. So we're going to actually use 2 Chebyshevs, and we're going to do some differences. Because we want to have roads, and we want to have buildings, and then we also want to have fine detail. And then we're going to have to like break it up into a few different buildings as well, because I want to have different styles of windows on the facades that we're going to use normals for. Yeah, I love doing city shaders like this, like fully generated cities. They're just really fun. Mix RGB. Set this to difference. So difference is just the one subtracted from the other, and then the absolute of that, so it's always positive. So if I increase this, then we get some fun colors. Should it go the other way? Change the location. Okay, so keep them the same scale, you think? And then change the location. Vector math. Add. Ooh, that does look good. Okay. And I'm also going to change these to F2 because F2 looks better, in my opinion. It's just like a little bit more of like a... So in America, all of your cities are on grids, and in the UK, our cities are not on grids. So we just have like, wherever buildings fit, we build buildings. The color output, oh yeah, that will give us like the sharp edge. That's a good shout, actually. Yeah, so we'll use the distance for, oh boy. We'll use the distance for the height so that we can like have the buildings coming up and like not shearing the geometry too badly. We'll use map range for that. Greater than. So I want this to be quite low, but I want it to be in all axes together. So if you're making sci-fi panels, you can see why this would be a useful one to have. I used it on one a little while ago that was like, I wonder if I can find it actually. Definitely put it on Twitter. So it was like a Chebyshev thing where it was changing all of the sides. It was months ago now, actually. Well, before even this. Yeah, this. So this is Chebyshev, and it's just animated to move around a little bit. And this is using Chebyshev F2 and just using the animating a W. And you can see I've like masked out different bits of it to make it like look like circuit board underneath. And the circuit board is also using like a smaller Chebyshev to give it the sub details. Yeah, super easy to do, and it's just a couple of the Voronoi nodes. But yeah, if you keep these quite low, then you get sort of like road scenes, street scenes. I might add another one. So it's all going like this way, right? Because it's offsetting in the positive XY direction. So I also want to push it in the other way to get the other edges of these white maps. So Control-Shift-D, and this one is going to be the same X but minus Y. So combine X, Y, Z. Same for the X, but we're going to do multiply by -1 for the Y. And then this needs to be put down here. Greater than on both of these. And then I'm going to add them with a clamp. So this should, as we increase this, we should get some things like pushing out in both directions. Cool. So that's looking a little bit more. Combine XYZ. Oh, to do this grey into blue. Yeah. Basically, it's like 1 going into 3 just makes all 3 of them the same. So if you have X here, then you've got X, X, and X in that one as well. So it just automatically like passes it in 3 directions. A cool subway map. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to do a video on map generation for fantasy worlds, because I feel like a lot of world builders, especially like young people who want to get into world building stuff, Blender would actually be really useful for that. Okay, so now we actually need to get some buildings going, which we're going to use this middle one, and a map range, converter map range, into the value, and this output into the displacement, vector displacement. And then I'm going to add a diffuse shader just so that we can look at this a little bit easier. Diffuse. Oh, there's still quite a lot of people here. Thanks for staying around, guys. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. Let me know if there's anything you want me to go into. It's like a seminar. Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, I don't really plan these things. I just sort of wing it. I feel like I'm at a point with nodes where I know enough to like make it work, but not enough, like not so much that it's boring. Like I'm still making mistakes and I'm still having to work stuff out. So that kind of keeps it, hopefully keeps it somewhat interesting. So I'm going to use stepped linear, and then increase the number of steps here. So it's kind of looking like a city already, but we want to have basically everywhere that we have this, we want to crush it so it's not displacing any of those positions. So mix, RGB, use this as the factor, and then hopefully, maybe we need to make those a little bit thicker. 0.02 maybe? 0.1? I mean, it's interesting, but I'm not sure what it's doing. Maybe we should just like cut the bottom off the right, it's good stuff. And we can texture all the sides of the buildings individually as well, because we have the color, right? We have the color of each building, sort of. Because it's F2, it's kind of doing it in a distorted way, but basically everywhere we have a different color, we can mask a different type of building on, and we can use the geometry normals to basically say like, okay, this is the top of a building, it wants to look like this. This is the X facing or the Y facing faces, so it wants to look like this, and then we can use like a Z, generated Z coordinate, or maybe we'll just have to mask it out if we're using other displacement later as well, to do like road level texture. Yeah, so Fab, when you go to your render tab, normally the subdivisions are set to 8 in the viewport. So things will look really janky. I just set it to 1, just because it gives you like real crispy edges, and that's what you want. Yeah, but it just depends on like hardware restrictions as well. Like I know some people will drop it down to 1 and then suddenly their computer will be crawling. So the input from here is very confusing because it doesn't look like Okay, so we have a bit of grey here. Why is that so high compared to everything around it? Am I doing something odd? Oh, is it because of this? It's so confusing. For no 3D, use 2D. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm just missing so many things. So much better. Wow, thank you so much. I always forget that things like intersect different parts of the stuff as it displaces upwards. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to take the output of this and I'm going to put it through a color ramp and just crush the black end of it because I want, instead of it going down into these pits, I want like a... Oh wait, what are we doing? I want like a flat base where there's roads. And let's increase this again. Maybe this will work better now that we've got it in 2D. 0.1. And then it's mixing. And then we're also crushing the blacks. So this looks like kind of a city. See you later, Dre's. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, cycles for animation is not going to work. I've done some fly-throughs with cycles before, and it's like 15 hours to do a 10-second render. But yeah, thanks for coming. Stop by again.